Let's see. Let's get this thing going. They watch me through all this knucklehead stuff. What?
Yeah,
But it's
I learned to
worth
stay
it.
strong. Concrete in the dirt I was raised on. Know how to put in work. Grinding all day, you know it's game on. My skin is thick, yeah, it's tough. Running, yeah, we stay alive. Ain't gotta look nowhere else. All of this greatness inside.
Episode 47, Miss Latoya Peterson. Last minute lessons. Ooh, that can go many different ways. Miss Latoya, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to move that just a little bit closer. Not a bunch, but it's right about there, and point it right at you. It's one of those directionals.
Okay.
Like the little circle. Make sure it's point. Yep,
Gotcha.
I hear you perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, she is the president of the Federated Republican Women's Fleming Island Club. No. Federated. I'm going to say it 5 times till I get it right, okay? Federated Republicans Women of Fleming Island.
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
see my little of? I couldn't read it, and
There
that's
you
what
go.
threw me off. Okay, I'm going to start there for a minute, and then I'm probably going to back up a little bit. But what is that?
So it is a club that is a fraction of the National Federated Women's Club of the state of Florida. And it's a national presence, there's a state presence, and then it breaks it down to county. Now, Clay County is a little bit different because typically you only have one Federated Women's Club, but for whatever reason, Clay County, they decided to have these different splinters. So that's where it is a little bit interesting. Being in this party for as long as I have been, I've never seen it with this many groups under one county.
Is there a little faction there?
There is a big faction there.
Okay, don't let me walk you anywhere you don't want to go. Okay, you're good.
I'm not going to want to be. I
Okay.
promise you.
All right.
So I would definitely attribute it to, everybody wants to be, the chief? Nobody wants to be the Indian? I may be saying that wrong because
No.
I always mess those up. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing. And so I'm grateful that Ruth found me worthy enough to lead this group as she had to transition onto a bigger and a higher profile position that it's supposed to be more apolitical. And so me being the conservative that I am, I've been doing this for quite a long time. I was probably conservative before I knew I was conservative, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it does, because right there is where I get to go back.
Yes.
So who got you into the conservative side? Was it family? Was it you?
So funny story. I became conservative after giving birth to my daughter and moving to Jacksonville, Florida in 2005. As everyone knows, 2005 is when we had our first opportunity to vote for a black man to be our president. And newly married, newly mom, I would go to my husband and I'm like, what is this Republican Democrat thing all about? And my husband of 20 years told me he is a man of the God and he didn't believe in politics. So I needed to figure it out myself. And that's where it started. Because then I did my own research and I realized, the historical elements of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party and the shift. And that's when I considered myself a conservative. And I started voting those conservative values and partaking in the alignment of the political arm of the Republican Party.
So Barack was in office.
And I did vote for Barack Obama.
Yeah, I did not.
Yeah.
Wish I had of after fact.
Yeah.
I really liked him, especially after finding out about the Bushes. Oh, who knew?
The more you know, the more you know.
They dirty. I'll say it.
Listen.
All about the grind. They dirty. They selling out everybody. They sold out the Gulf for oil for 99 years to China.
That's right.
People, do your own research. Don't watch Fox News and don't watch CNN. Dig deep.
And you have to. And that's what I tell people all the time. My conservative values are to the core of who I am.
Yes.
I definitely believe in less government. I definitely believe in, holding my own principles and values to myself and my family. And no one is going to tell me how to raise my children. I don't mind paying my taxes, but I will ask you where my money is going. And these are all the core values that Republicans truly at the core believe in. Oftentimes we let the media, like he said, the Fox News and all the other ones.
I can hear the talking points. I know what you watch by how you talk.
Yes.
Both sides of the aisle.
Yes.
I don't trust neither one of y'all.
Exactly.
Sorry, we don't know each other, but
exactly, you're absolutely
kindred
right.
spirit.
Listen, and was an educator.
I was going to get to that. Please do.
See, firsthand how things were handed down into the actual, day-to-day operations of being a teacher. I've been in education now 15 years. I started out as a teacher assistant because, again, I'm a conservative. I ain't working nowhere for free. And a teacher assistant, you got paid. A teacher's aide, you got paid. But I was in college, and so I had to earn my way through. Both of my parents are high school graduates. I loved them to death, and they took me as far as they could.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible talks about that, right? Those are things that are true core values that I have. And as I was matriculating through my college, I realized, okay, I want to have summers off, and I'm an educator that believed in that. Unfortunately, we don't have those opportunities anymore as educators. We all are working multiple jobs, and when you look at the people who are making the decisions, they're not working multiple jobs.
Interesting story.
So
It's really funny how you see it from where you're coming. I was a custodian for the Duval County School Board. And then I got into the maintenance department of the Duval County School Board, and I was working electrical. So we would have to work the schools hot while y'all were teaching. So I heard a lot. I had kids at inner city that were in 6th grade. They were coming, hey, man, give me $10. I'm like, these big old boys. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, I can say it now. I wasn't there. I carried a razor blade in my back pocket. There were some rough schools, and all of a sudden kids would break out in fights and teachers run out. And it was, I mean, how do you learn in that? You don't.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't.
You learn something different. You're not learning
Coping skills.
You're not learning what's in the books. You're learning survival. You're learning, like you said, coping skills.
Yep.
And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I've only worked in inner city schools. I thrive in those. My background is middle to high school. I think everyone has a gift when it comes to education, and elementary was not mine.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed having the intellectual conversations with the middle schoolers and the high schoolers. I've taught majority on the northwest south side of Jacksonville. Coming from born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Broward County is the true melting pot of the world.
It is.
Anyone can say anything different. They're crazy. And so I tell people, if you really want to know what the world is going to be, you go into a middle or high school classroom and you will see the future. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's the reality.
100%.
And so I'm grateful to be able to have had those experiences, being in a high school in the early 2000s was amazing. I taught at the largest high school in Jacksonville, which also had the largest homeless population in Jacksonville. And two things that aren't supposed to be a thing in Jacksonville, but it was. Again, coming from Broward County, these are things that were not socially acceptable. Our children, our schools, our teachers were at the utmost top priority. Here, it kind of wavers depending on who's in office. And it was something that I learned.
And how they redraw the district.
Correct. And that's something that I learned once I got to Jacksonville. You knew it in Broward, but you didn't feel it until I moved to Jacksonville, Florida. And so
Not even hiding.
No, it's blatantly right in your face. You can go across the bridge and see
Good old boys.
Great food, and then you go across the other bridge and you see like, okay, the prisoners are eating better than the students, kind of deal. And so that's where for me, it was like, okay, I need to make sure I am active and I am intentional about my levels of engagement as I matriculated through education.
I love that word, intentional. You know what I don't think a lot of people realize is, I mean, they will watch bowls play reins, and they will see these dynamic athletes running around looking shiny, and they don't realize they go home and have nothing to eat.
That's right.
You know, because I went to private schools, and they would end up leaving there and coming. We'd get recruited to Christian schools, and they come here. We were winning state championships then. What do you know? It wasn't me. And it was just dynamic athletes. And some came from the South, and some came from the North, and some came from Philadelphia. Next thing you know, we had a good football team.
That's true.
And they would come home with me, and my mom would make food, and it was just normal. Now, we didn't have a lot, but peanut butter and jelly was pretty rampant in my house.
Listen.
They would eat 10 of them and be grateful. And I've always remembered, my dad did hand me one thing, because he grew up in Brazil.
Okay.
Helped him get a job when he came back and the civil rights was going on. He was around African-American Brazilians, but the North is very African-American based.
Right.
And so they were his best friends. So he came back, and Eckerd's had ice cream back then, and there was people that would not serve the African-Americans. He's like, I'll serve them. And it helped him, boop. And he stayed with Eckerd's for many a year about that. So.
And I remember Eckerd's being in South Florida as the grocery store, like the pharmacy for blacks, right? We didn't have, I didn't know much about Walgreens, right? We didn't know about the other ones that were out there, but Eckerd's was the staple. My parents would go in there, and My father is very old school, and he still is in his 70s.
Yes.
And he would go to the neighborhood pharmacy for Father John and,
Yep.
all the things we took. But, to your point, those things that we now, I feel we take for granted, are what we've lost as a democracy and as a human race.
So is there a fixing of it, or are we just going to sit here on the toe the lines and swing at each other?
I know there's a way to fix it, and I am definitely solution driven. One
I
is,
like your words.
being very, again, intentional about what we're doing in the club, bringing people that are probably people have forgotten about in Clay County. I ran for school board here in 2016 in Clay County, in Fleming Island. And it was not by accident. I enjoyed it all. I got 47% of the vote. I was going up against an incumbent, and I had no other reason but to change the conversation. Clay County has never had a minority on their school board. Never. We're in 2025. How is that a thing?
I have no idea.
Okay. So that's the question, right? But we do have.
And nor did I pay. Let me be real. Nor did I pay attention.
Right. And why should you?
I lived in Fleming Island 23 years. My kids graduated. I left. I knew the principal. I knew the coaches. I'm
that's all
good.
you
He
needed,
was in
right?
ACE. Worry about everybody else. They're on their own.
Exactly. And so that's the thing. If you're not in a program, if you're not in a box that you can check, then it's like, it doesn't bother me. And that's the culture. And me being an educator, I don't believe in those programs. Like, I feel like everyone should have access to ACE.
I agree.
Everyone should have access to an IB class. Everyone should have access to an advanced placement course, because you know what? That's the only way our children are going to see if they can even thrive in those environments.
You either get in a ninth or you can't get in.
Right. It's like you're filling out these applications. I mean, if it were up to me, we would not have those programs in the public school system.
Interestingly enough, having known a lot about the inner city and the schools, I know the ebb and flow of friends and true friends, not gangs in it, but just like true friends hanging out, really have nowhere to go home.
Right.
Drunks or addicts and no food, they might as well stay with coach and hang out at the school.
Right.
They work out, but they're always lingering until 6:37. Right. And I went to Fleming Island, and there they are.
Yes.
And it's not just
Right.
African Americans.
No.
It is much broader than it was. And there are a lot of whites, that are getting caught up in the net. And I think now there's a little bit more, let's pay attention.
Because it's now hitting home.
You can use that to your advantage.
Of course.
I mean, that is all fair in love and war. That's nothing unethical about
No,
that.
it is not.
Oh.
That's just it. That's the reality. As an educator, I taught 10th grade English, and every student who walked in my classroom, it did not matter where they came from. They were getting 100% of me, period. That was it. That's the way I taught from the time I started in 6th grade to when I taught in middle school. I have a master's in ed leadership. That is how I feel we can change this conversation. Because
One at a time.
One at a time, because you hear often, these kids are applying to 5 and 6 colleges, and, they're in IB and they're in AP and they're in ACE and all this. And then you look at the child and they're like, are you a child?
Yeah.
And they're like, what is that?
Yeah.
Right? If we strip away all these things and ask them about their true childhood, can they speak to it?
Because this is you're really digging in deep, and I love this. This is really where when minorities talk about advantages. My son, him and his buddy drove in their vehicle down to Miami and experienced the Everglades on their own. They had great stories. A manatee attacked my son in a little airboat. It was stupid. They went and cooked. There was no campgrounds.
Right.
One of them is now a Navy SEAL. Go figure.
Go figure.
Yeah, not my son.
Right.
But I would not mention. But there's a lot of friends he had. But anyways, they got to experience and see the world on a much bigger plateau than just 4 streets, because you can't walk 3 streets down.
No.
You cannot cross over that. They don't understand. There's no line. There's no fence. There's a fence. Yes. Walk over that one block and watch the people come out of that house.
That's right.
If not then, in an hour and a half, whether you're at home or not, mama will get it.
That's right.
They don't care anymore.
They do not. And that's what we've lost to community, right? When I first started, I transitioned from education, and it became very apparent that things that were being done in Tallahassee was not matriculating down to the actual educators. It was filtered through the union. It was filtered through the principal,
the union, or
the superintendent. It was all these filters. And then when you actually talk to them, the actual people who were making these laws, they were like, "That's not what we said." And so then it became another intent for me to say, okay, how do I, in myself, in what I can bring, because the Bible talks about we're supposed to leave the world better than what we got.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So I believe that that's a core value that I have. And I sat there and I got the chance to meet with the then, at the time, Governor Scott. He would come to Jacksonville. He was here like every week.
Yeah.
I don't know what drew him here. He had a lot of business here, but this was where he did a lot of business at. And he would meet at UNF campus. He would have
Ospreys. Oh,
there you go.
Sorry.
And he would meet there and he would have an open session. So whoever wanted to talk to him, constituents, friend or foe, could come and meet with him. And I was like, wait, what? Like, you don't have to have an appointment. You don't have to go through any of this foolishness that you do now. Granted, it's necessary, not foolishness. But nevertheless.
No, but the ideology of what you're talking about,
right,
it is foolishness.
Yeah. So
have your security, but come show up and let me walk in and ask my questions.
There we go.
Yeah.
And so I was able to do that. And I got to meet him and talk to him and ask the questions that the union was putting out. Like, oh, Governor Scott said that we're not doing this. And I would go there. He's like, that is not what it You'd be like, are you kidding me?
He was a pretty straight shooter, right?
Very
Verbally?
straight,
Okay. Good communicator.
Very.
Yeah.
And he would say, Latoya, that's not how that works. This is what we did. And he would say, matter of fact, I'm going to send you the actual bill. This is what is going to happen. These are what's been amended. And I became more empowered with educational policy than I ever could have imagined. Like, I dreamed about it, right? I've always wanted to be in education because at the time I just had one daughter. And I was like, okay, God has given me this one person to deal with. But I also was still teaching at Sandalwood High School.
Yes.
Had 150 students who were amazing.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, I need to make sure they're good. At the end of the day, I didn't care where they were going. When they were in my classroom for those 55 minutes, they were the number one priority.
Big Filipino influence over there, right? Yes.
Big Filipino and Arabic.
Yes. Very much so now.
Yes. And so
last 15 years, probably.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so their parents, again, coming over, expecting the red carpet and getting these obstacles that they're having to experience, being able to speak to them was something that I was gifted in doing so, helping them navigate all the things. But again, I came from Broward County where you had all these in your classes every day. It wasn't like you moved on one side of town to get it. It was in every classroom. And I taught in a predominantly mixed school, middle school back then before we moved here. And so being able to be in those experiences led me to...
Hang on. With leadership backing you.
Yes.
You can have all the umph. You can make a drip, but you can't make that splash.
That's correct. And I've been
There's got to be funds behind. Let's get real.
Right.
There's got to be money put behind it, time, effort, facilities, lights, air conditioning, paper, pencil, all down
things.
to the
to the paper towels and the toilet paper.
I was a custodian 6 years. I
right.
love my custodians,
That's
man.
That's right. And that's the one thing the first principal I ever worked for, she was probably by far the best. And no one has topped her since. But she said to every new teacher, we all got in her office and she met with us and she says, I am the principal. And then she brought in our custodians.
I love it.
That was it. She was like, and these are the people who make it happen. And she didn't bring in the assistant principals. She didn't bring in no registrar. She didn't bring in any teacher leads or any union people. We had 4 custodians. And she said, if you do not know them by first name, you will not be in education for long.
That's interesting. I was very good friends with my teachers.
There we go. Listen, to this day, I still talk to my custodian friends.
My son still goes to Fleming, to Mandarin, not Mandarin Oaks, that's where I was a custodian, one of the places, Fleming Island Elementary, and sees his teacher, yes, but lunch ladies. He learned that if he asked for vegetables, they'd give him more. And he was a big boy. He liked to eat. And that was elementary. And they, to this day, he's 28 and still plays baseball, so they love seeing him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to your point, like, we have to get back to those type of conversations. We've gotten away from those things. And even in our party, I've been blessed to, after meeting Governor Scott at the time, I was in education and, we talked and I said, I need to be able to do this more. He's like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yes, because we can't keep getting secondhand information. Like, the union is telling us this. I'm clearly talking to you. You are not ashamed to tell me what's going on. If it was something we did, he was like, listen, we're not going to be able to push that. Teachers are just going to have to whatever.
So where did you take that? Like, you gained that firsthand from the horse's mouth, with all due respect. I think that's respectful.
Yeah.
Okay. And sorry, Miss Albritton at Episcopal. I should know. But anyways, but I mean, who's coming with you?
Yeah, no. So from there, I literally walked into the RNC in DC. I was there on a conference for the teachers.
So for both, it was a combined meet. Oh.
It was a combined. I was there for leadership for NEA. I was the person chosen to go and learn about the legislative process and what our legislative agenda was going to be for National Education Association.
So this became a job.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So from there, I walked into the RNC. I was in DC, and I was like, "Yeah, let's go see how this is." I walked in, and this was right when, at the time, we had a candidate who had made some racial comments,
Mm-hmm.
and the RNC had to act fast, and so they deployed 15 minority directors throughout the 50 states.
PR based or
Statewide.
education based?
No, just statewide. It
Okay,
didn't matter.
gotcha. Okay,
Right?
get out there
We had
now.
Correct.
Okay,
that was
heard.
a directive, right?
Yeah.
And Reince Priebus was our chairman at
Is
the
that
time.
good?
It was amazing.
Well, I mean, okay, so the white guy says something racial, and then he sends out all the black people.
He sent out blacks, Asian, and Hispanics.
Is that good?
How else were you going to do it?
Okay,
Because you couldn't come tell
because
me.
I don't know. You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
So,
you mean to the local communities,
We
to
were
their
going
own.
to our
Okay,
own
understood.
communities, yes.
Heard.
Yeah.
I thought he was like putting them out all
Oh,
in
no,
front.
no, no, no,
Okay,
no.
because like
They-
puppets, you get what? Okay,
They
I
had
hear
their
it.
own people, but
Understood
in order
now.
to speak to our
Yeah,
communities.
no, hey man, I was
Yeah.
trying. Hey man,
Yeah. Talk about the shoe with Bush. No, I'm joking.
yes,
That was hilarious.
I love that.
That was amazing.
I freaking love that. All the
Bye.
memes that
Oh
came
my
with all the
gosh.
gifts. I sent them to everybody.
They were epic.
Yes, man.
So yeah, so we
That's awesome.
so got deployed, got that position, left teaching, got an instant 40K raise
Wow.
just from that.
Great benefits.
I mean, great
Yes.
benefits, right?
Yeah.
And I got to be a part of the conversation. And
But
the
you
solution.
prepared yourself.
I did, and I stayed in touch with Governor Scott. By this time, he was running for re-election,
Mm.
and the RNC was like, "Okay, you talk directly to the candidate," and so we became even more friends. I consider him a friend and a mentor. I'd
Wow.
always talk to him and say, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing," and he'd be like, "Protect your brand at all costs. If you cannot speak to your brand, do not do
Yes.
it."
Because if you lose,
That's it.
if you lose the masses,
He said, "Right now,
you lose the
you
top.
everyone wants a conversation because you're solution driven and they know you're passionate in your integrity. Do not ever lose that. Don't compromise. If you feel like you need to compromise, you don't need to do it." And he was like, "I don't even know why I'm telling you this because this is what you presented to me how
Yes,
many
ma'am.
years ago."
Yeah.
And so I kept that. And so I worked for the RNC for about 2 years
Wow.
as the state director.
Wow.
We kicked ass in 2016 on his campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I went on to consult on the mayor in Jacksonville's campaign. And then I went on to, we had a Senate runoff race in New Orleans.
Ooh, that was a battle.
It was amazing. It was epic.
Because that's what you live for
Oh
in
my
your
gosh.
world.
I mean, it was like,
Yeah.
you're in,
It's the Super Bowl.
it's the Super Bowl.
That right there made a difference for the nationwide. It broke a lot of ties.
Yes. So
Okay.
we 250 of us get deployed to New Orleans.
Deployed.
Yes. It was literally the day after the election. So we left, the election was November 7th.
Wow.
November 9th, we were all on planes. It was amazing because you got to meet people from all over. Again, these are the same ones that we were
Sharing ideas, spreading this ideology.
things.
One voice.
one voice.
One voice.
So we get into the hotels.
Wow.
Somewhere in New Orleans East, somewhere in New Orleans West, and we're in a hotel. We take up the entire hotel. Staff is
And
cooking
you
for us,
grind.
and we are grinding. I mean, we get up that morning. We're making the calls. We're out in the field. It was, like you said, it was. I was in heaven.
Yeah.
You know.
And you pushed it. I
we
mean,
pushed it.
you moved it.
We
Y'all
got-
moved the needle.
We got the numbers daily. We knew where we needed to be.
Isn't that crazy how big of a numbers game this thing is?
It is all a numbers.
It's
game.
all a numbers
It's
game.
all a numbers game. And we got to
Is
see
that good?
how New Orleans is. Of course it is. Numbers
Okay.
matter. I mean,
Okay.
you are in football. You
Yeah.
know, you ain't making the points.
Yep.
Nothing's moving. You're not making the yards. I have 2 daughters, so I have to vicariously live through other
Yep.
people who tell me about football.
But I had a daughter. We did dance.
Okay,
So
so you understand.
Oh,
So,
at Fleming
yeah.
Island, she was on the dance team out there.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
we with that understanding, again, I grew more and more into understanding politics and how the game was really played. And
So tell me the truth. When
Mhm.
you move that needle, what a
Yes.
rush.
listen, from that rush,
There's no
to
drunk,
the-
no drug, no nothing other than babies and marriage and all the, God
It
given.
was amazing because we literally came off of
I'm excited.
the election in Florida,
Right.
where our points were, let's say our points for us in Florida, and I was over Florida,
Right.
we had to get 25% of the vote. That's it. That was the minimum, what the data said we needed to move the needle. We got 36.
Wow.
So we knew what was working.
Why not stay there? You just more bigger.
Well, I again, it goes back to leadership, right?
Right.
And as a chairperson, Reince was only there for so long. You do something to piss somebody off, who knows?
Okay. Yeah.
And then when he leaves, the program leaves, right?
Yeah.
Because as soon as he got out of office, we were told, okay, we don't know if we're going to keep it.
Okay, I got a question. Just as a layman over here, if that's here, I'm a bonehead. And I'm involved in politics. I pay basic attention, school board, not as much, obviously. But when you get something done in any capacity in government, and within 4 years to 6 years, because, every 2 years the Congress and have you, the House switches or flips, and because it's so tight now. I mean, does it feel like do they keep anything, or do they just totally wash? Could we not save some money if we just all sat down in between? Listen, you get 25% of the pool, we'll take. I don't understand this.
It's ego and pride.
And money. I mean, there's big money.
Of course. I mean, it's $1 billion industry to be in a campaign. Like it is very much you think running a business, it is a business on steroids when you have a campaign.
So I went down to First Baptist downtown years ago, back when they were the big boys.
Yes.
And I mean, everybody thought they pulled Jacksonville. They had people in there, but I remember a gentleman, I'm not going to say his name, because he may still be involved, I don't know. But I remember him coming down to First Baptist, and they would always stand all these politicians up, even Vines and Lindsay, and I love those guys in a lot of capacities, but I always disagreed with them. I'd go, why aren't they don't even go to church here? What are they doing down here? And we did acknowledge them. Well, one of them came to college and career, and there was 300 of us back then. And it's where, and they, he asked for a vote and all that, and then he got dirty. And I remember looking at all my friends like, why didn't he come back and say, I'm sorry? I mean, he asked for I hated that. The ugly side of politics, you're never going to get rid of it. But do you see a time where money gets out of this?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Okay. You got to play the game by the rules that are written.
I mean, money is the root of all evil. So as long as you are looking at it from that lens of it being a business, what people get caught up in is that we make these politicians a god.
Agreed.
Because if he came and said, I'm a person, I'm going to make mistakes and vote for me, you would have still voted for him.
Yeah.
But you would have gave him that grace because you were like, listen, he never said he was going to be walking on water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We all going to fall short, but it's how you fall short. How do you rebound from it? Who do you take down with you, and how do you come back from it? Right? Because even in our walk, God will forgive us, but he has to know our heart.
Yeah, and there's still consequences.
Right. If you're exactly, and there's always going to be consequences. So if you're saying it just to check a box, people are going to see that. Like you said, he didn't come back and apologize.
Nope.
But if he would have came and apologized, how many of y'all would have received that?
Yeah.
And then you'd have been like, oh, he's just coming back because he wants something else.
I would have.
So it on that spectrum.
So he probably knew that. His PR guy told him that.
It's like, why?
He goes, listen, you have a 47% chance if you go here. It's a numbers game.
So exactly. So we go back to the numbers and we go back to the
What's
dollars.
the margin? Oh, we're 5 on this one.
There we go.
Okay.
So yeah. So when you look at it from that lens, you're like, it's not worth it. It's so you don't do it.
Did y'all ever have a decision and then move the needle to and waited on the decision until you could move the needle to within the 3 or 5% margin? Freaking phenomenal. Oh my gosh.
It was literally when we were in New Orleans. So we were neck and neck in that race. And I didn't know the guy. We probably met him. We were probably 3 weeks in before we ever got to meet him, because it was literally, we got on and this was the day that the runoff was announced.
Yeah.
So he had no time to come and say anything to us. We got our, bios on him. We knew what we were doing. We knew what our marching orders was. But not having met him was a disadvantage to us because we were all coming from different parts of the world, pretty much. Like, we were from the 50 states, but we had just came out of our own election cycle. And so to your point, it's like, okay, we're going in, we know what our mission is, but having heard from him, and we saw him speak, but it's nothing like, I can
You didn't know him.
Correct.
So to sell him is really hard.
And people.
You have to trust. You have to trust the people that are vetting.
Exactly. And that's what we did.
And you could look silly.
Exactly. And some of them were like asking questions, and I would be with them. Each team we had.
Makes sense. Because they go back to the churches. Y'all don't know all this, people. Y'all go send some African American churches, man. A lot of politicking going on there.
Of course. And it's Bible, though.
Smart.
I mean, if you go back to the history of politics, It all started in the church.
That's where everybody met for everything.
That's where you met for everything. So when I hear people say, why are they coming to the church? I just look at them and I ask them,
Where you want them to go?
Where have you been all your life? Because this is how things were done. Like you didn't have a town square. No. And for blacks, we didn't have any place to meet. So where else were we going to find
You couldn't even talk straight. You had to put it in a song.
There we go.
And you had to put it in code.
Exactly. So
all that Christian music y'all singing. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, we'll leave that. Y'all dig if you want.
It's a little deeper.
It's deep.
It's a very deep.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you hear that stuff, and me again doing the research, knowing it, and my family didn't talk to me for a couple years when I told them I was a Republican.
Wow.
It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, it is what it is, and as soon as something happens, though, they're like, oh, can you call so and so? I'm like, hard pass. I'm like, nice try. Yeah, no, and they'd be like, you would say that, and I mean, my father, he was very consistent. He said, listen. You're an adult. You made your choice. I know you know better. I know you have a good head on your shoulder. Don't get caught up.
Right.
And that's what he said. And he never, everybody else, oh, here she goes.
Because he's right. Because it will seep on all sides.
Yeah.
Greed, selfishness, and self-centeredness has no party.
Has no party.
And that money floats. Tell me that hasn't circled around you. The opportunities. No, I mean, if someone wanted to dive in and wanted to build their brand with the under table, and it's there for the taking.
It is there. I mean, it's just like, as we have a choice. Everything we do is a choice. You can choose to do good or you can choose to do bad.
So you're telling me, I'm going to trust you because you're probably the first politician. You're telling me that there are actually people in Tallahassee that are absolutely 100% clean.
Of course.
But they got to give something, right? The compromise that has to be given to get the earmarks and their earmarks and.
Yeah, but the compromise isn't soul taking.
Okay.
It's not the compromise that we consider to be life-threatening or immoral.
Okay.
Right? It could be, okay, when you come to town, I'm going to take you to dinner and I'm going to actually pay for it. Yeah. Not my committee, not my secretary, it's not going to come out of a fund. I'm going to actually swipe my debit card to my personal checking account and pay for it.
So there are healthy compromises and arguments over dinner.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
There is not all, like I tell people, you would like to think it is what the world says it is. But if you get to the core of what the real people that are doing things that you don't see on the news, just think about it that way. You don't see all state reps on the news.
No, they throw Omar up there on that side.
That's it.
Trump and his
right. You hear those people all the time because they are the ones that are making the most noise.
You're right.
But if you look at a Senator Scott, like he hasn't been in the news lately.
Yeah.
I mean, since he's gotten to D.C., we haven't heard. And every now and then you'll hear, oh, he was the.
You can always get something.
Right.
If you've been in politics for 10, don't pull up my past. I couldn't even get in politics.
No, you probably could.
Really?
The dirtier, the better.
I'm interested.
Oh, yes. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I'll travel.
The thing about it is when you tell your story before someone else does.
Oh, it's all here.
There you go.
I don't hide nothing.
So if you can sell it better than somebody else, and they'd be like, he already told me that. And they'd be like, wait, he did? They're like, yeah. And he told me about that part of that. Authenticity
rattles people.
There you go. And
I don't know if I am as anchored as you with the tests that would go on. I'm not saying I'm not. I think it's healthy to challenge anything I believe.
Oh, yes.
I don't always trust. Because also my best ideas got me standing in front of a judge a time or two too. So I thought it was a great idea.
That was amazing.
What could go wrong?
And then you're like, Your Honor.
God had a journey. No, it was a spiritual death is what it really was.
And that's just what it boils down to. I've been blessed. I cannot say that enough, to meet people who have made those choices and they've showed me not to make those choices. I don't take it for granted. I consider those, I tell people, if you can get your hand burned and I don't have to, I'm going to listen to you because I respect you enough. And it goes to that perspective, right? And so when I've been in Tallahassee, I've been in D.C. After working for the RNC, I took a job with the leadership of Lenny Curry in Jacksonville, and I was the liaison between the mayor's office and city council. It was okay.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah. He has hands in a lot of things.
He has hands in a lot of
things. His family had his hands in a lot of things.
Hands in a lot of things. I mean, he's
Gate alone.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah. I played on the softball team. This is close I got to Lenny. Gate softball.
Yeah.
They give us nice stuff.
Yeah.
I think all y'all's money went to us.
It probably did. And so again, but not everyone agrees with people like me being in
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah.
So there's that conversation. They're like, what is she doing? Well, last time I checked, I'm human. So
And you have family.
and I'm going
That's
to have
where
a voice. Like
politicians
it's
came
like,
from.
And and I tell people, when you hear the word politician, it means you're passionate about something. It's not anything illegal. If you look up the actual word in the definition in Webster's, Wikipedia, it is you're passionate about something. That's it. So if you just look at it from that standpoint, I'm passionate about education.
How do you bite your tongue?
I don't.
Okay, so I don't have to bite my tongue.
No.
Man, I am starting to like this. So they would accept an old drunk. I'm 12 years sober.
You won't be the first one that's 12
That's what I'm
years
talking
sober.
about.
Look it up.
I can show the
promise.
way.
That's it.
People, let me tell you.
He's getting his talking points
I
ready.
watched Brock now.
Exactly.
That boy was, man, even walking up to the stage,
That's
he had
right.
that little swag.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, he was smooth.
He's the original swag star.
When he went overseas, even if I didn't agree with everything he did, I knew we were represented well.
That's right. And that's what matters, right?
Yeah,
Because right now you're being represented and everyone's like, wait for it. Oh, there it is.
I am too. I will tell you this, as one that voted for him, I didn't vote because of his personality. I really thought the first go round, not the second go round, the first go round, I really thought he would fall a little more in line like Reagan. And
Oh, absolutely.
Reagan was a hothead.
Yeah,
he
absolutely
barked
not.
at
I know.
reporters, shut your mouth. But he learned to be an actor and play the political game, because there is a part. Brock didn't like everybody he was standing beside. This cracker right here, it's politics. And I would like to think I would have that ability. I don't know yet.
You would.
You think so?
Because this is the thing. You would want, so for every person that you would feel would say something negative, you would know that you've met 30 people that want to hear you speak.
Okay, that's
right.
Okay.
And so when you're speaking to those 30 that you know are going to be adamant about your call to action. They're going to be listening to make sure you're educated on what you're speaking to. They're going to want to hear your solution. So that's what you drown out the other noise.
Because youth, I'm passionate about.
Correct.
Like the age group you talked about, they are so moldable even right now. Matter of fact, this generation probably a little bit more than even mine. I'm 55, so I'm like the 80s kid. But my kids, material isn't as important to them. They get it. They're not chasing. Contentment is really rampant, and there's a spiritual uptick.
That's right.
Big time. I don't care where you go. I'm just saying I see
you're
it.
absolutely right.
I see true searching going on, and not through drugs and alcohol.
Exactly. And they're literally going after their core. They're not looking
Yes.
at the things, and you hear a lot of the TikTok and all this, but when you look at the things that are happening on TikTok, they're teaching you how to cook. They're teaching you how to be
People don't get it.
They're teaching you how to be, fashionable. If you look at, again, take the lenses off of the world, right? And these are things that, for whatever reason, they haven't been taught.
Yep.
Or they want to enhance. I don't always say that they haven't been taught. They just want to enhance what they thought they may have known. And so this is a vehicle to do so. Whereas in schools, we don't do this anymore.
Yes.
So this is what they have to go to.
And then even the spiritual side, I'm on TikTok live all the time. I've done one today. I do 2 to 3 a day.
Nice.
And we battle and all that. And I'm learning it because we're going to do a TikTok shop. But I started realizing they throw gifts as well. And I was like, hey.
That's right.
I mean, I had no idea.
That's right.
Gifts is money, people.
That's right.
And so, yes, mine is more female-based because I'm a guy, and yours would be more male-based. But there are mothers in there. I know their husbands. We joke and we kid, and we're called, because it's Drift with Brett. And I call them drifters, drifters. And you all join a fan club. And so I have these people that hang out with me. I know some of them deeper in what's going on in their lives than I do my own family.
There you go.
And we talk politics.
That's right.
Not as much because I'm Irish, and we don't talk politics or religion as much. But what we do talk, the same that I do on here, is healing. Spiritual, physical, financial, because I've been through it all. I've been through the hell and the heavens. I cry on there. I yell. I cuss. Don't find me. But it is. There are people on there that used to drink that don't drink anymore because of my story. And I mean, sometimes I'm playing Christian music. Sometimes I'm playing AC/DC. Just wherever we drift.
And that's what makes it real. That's what I'm saying.
Authenticity.
So you as real as you can be. Like, if you hear people, once they meet me and they really know me, I tell people, I consider you in my circle. You put yourself out my circle. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to say who I am. Now, if you don't agree, we can have that conversation, but we're going to do it peaceful. I don't need to argue. I don't raise my voice. As a teacher, I never raised my voice.
I got to get better at that.
I've written one referral in 15 years. And it was because a child from another classroom fought in my classroom, because my kids know we don't fight in here. I'm not a referee.
Right.
That's not my job description. So we don't fight in my classroom.
Right.
But we had someone come in and they did. That's the only time I've ever written a referral.
But you set you set your standards early.
There we go.
And then you had I find with children and young people, tell me if I'm wrong in education. You pick your battles, and whatever battle you pick, you better win.
That's right.
And then I used to keep my parameters pretty wide, and I'd let them play, and they could break some of my little. But if you ever hit that rock wall, I used to always tell my kids, I love being your friend. But if you make me choose, I'm your daddy.
That's it.
I don't care about nothing other than, are you doing well? You know, and are you making good decisions?
That's it. And that's the same thing in education. I literally, my students, that's why I like the older ones, because they can have those conversations. Like, listen, what are things that are non-negotiables for you? And we would write them down. I mean, this is what I did to get to know my students, and they got to know me. And I would say what my non-negotiables are. We don't need to curse. We don't need to be belligerent. We don't need to act crazy. I don't like you jumping up and down. This is not PE. I'm an English teacher, so we can act and be animated all day. But if it is not a part of a script, leave it outside my door.
I love it.
And that's the way I operate. And I operate that in my real life. You know, as people get to know me, you know, you'll have some say, oh, she's this. She's consistent. That's the one thing you
Focused repetition. Were you military as well?
No.
Okay, me neither. I don't know where I got it.
I attribute it to my father. You know, he was very much so, you know, your word is all you have. And what you present, people will remember. Period. You can't change it. You can try, but once I see you're an asshole, you're always going to be an asshole. You can change it, you know, and he used to say, I pray and I tell God, you know, I see them changing, but that's something that I have to do internally, right? You know, it's not something that they would have to do. Even if they've changed, it's something up to me to change my heart, because my heart only sees them as one way. And so that's where the spiritual comes from. And he taught us that. He drilled that in us, and I believe it, and that's at the core of what I do now. If people say, hey, she said this, and you're with them, and you'll be like, she ain't say that.
How's your husband deal with people attacking you verbally, and you know all the mess that goes with politics?
He's very much so. First, my husband's 6'7".
Oh, well, okay. They ain't attacking in front of him.
No. And
you're my friend.
And
That's one thing. You know.
He presents very much stoic. He is military.
So he's quiet.
Yeah, he's Army medic, and so he's like the quiet storm.
Oh, he's used to the controlled chaos.
Yeah.
You
so
dive him in, and everything gets slow.
There we go.
Oh my gosh.
So
okay.
He wasn't, you know, he would hear it and he would just, you know, reaffirm me and say, listen, don't even let, and he would look at me like, you don't even know I'm telling you this, like, you don't worry about it. Because again, at the time I was in a space where it wasn't many minority women in. Currently, I'm the only minority consultant for the Republican Party in Florida.
You know who I watched? Another minority couple that is powerful. They're not in politics, but is the Bates, Dr. Bates. He lives on Fleming Island.
Why does that name sound familiar?
He's a surgeon.
Yes.
Okay,
I've met him.
he did my son's
Okay.
year. He did Fleming Island. He's always there. Well, I lived right across the street from him.
Okay.
And we knew him, and he did my son's surgery. And we weren't like friends, right. But their house, he was a huge house. And they had a pool. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Bates. And I never did tell you this, but they had a pool, and he had put a big old TV out there. And I would sit on my bed of my truck out. I had a beautiful house, but I'd be outside, and he would have whatever game he'd have on, and I would watch it. And you see all his girls bouncing. He has 3 girls. And
that's awesome.
He just always was very respectable in all that he's done. He has fixed so many athletes and students out of and adults out of Fleming Island. So just well known.
Yeah, no.
And I guess for me, I love seeing variety. And so I recognize it a little bit, and I start paying attention. And I mean, I lived across from him for 20 years. He lived, I'm not gonna say where he lives, but he lives out in the Fleming Island area. And so I got to see him from afar, and he is the man that he walks around to be.
That's just it. That's what I'm saying. Like, being yourself day in and day out. It doesn't require a whole lot. Like, you know, you would see me at a grocery store, I'm going to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know,
do you get tired of that though? Do you get tired of getting caught?
It's a gift.
Is it a mask? Do you feel like like for me, I think mine is sometimes, okay, I come like retail and this, and I love this, but you talk all day, and then I get on live, and when I get off live,
And see, I guess because I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
I
train for a lot.
Yeah.
You're right.
I can do this. I mean, education, listen, I eat and breathe it. I want to know what's coming out. I want to know the latest and the greatest because I meet people and they don't know, right? And so again, I feel like that's one of my gifts God has given me, to know how to help people transition or matriculate through the educational system.
What do you do with the young ones that you see are just drowning? I mean, you can't save all. I mean, you got your kids, you got our kids. I mean, and some don't even know they need to be saved. They'll fight you, because
Them and their parents, they will fight you, and you just pray. And believe it or not, that has been my saving grace, because I've had those students and they've come back, and unbeknownst to me, I've just said my prayer. And if like I tell people, I tell my friends, if God tells me to call you, I'm going to call you.
Mm-hmm.
And I may not have talked to you for months.
Mm-hmm.
And when I call you, I'm literally going to say, God put it on my heart to call you. Are you good?
Is that an empath?
I don't think of it as.
And you didn't grow up in a trauma-based childhood or anything. And I'm not trying to get
No,
deep.
no.
Because I had godly parents, but
I
there was
honestly
trauma.
just started doing that probably within the last 2 years, though. I wouldn't say it looked different before,
Yeah.
right? Before, as an educator, I would come in a classroom, and that's my passion, right?
Focused on doing your job and your tasks.
And I would meet students, and I could hear their hurt, and I would go after that, and I
Yeah.
would do it,
Save the ones in
off-
your circle.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
Now your
that's-
circle's just expanded a
There we
little
go.
bit.
And so that's where this club is going to be amazing, because I just relocated back to Fleming Island. We moved to Tallahassee. I got an appointment to work for the Department of Education.
Okay. Congratulations.
Yes, it was amazing. Prior to that, I was a presidential appointee for Donald Trump.
Oh, wow.
And so I worked for the AmeriCorps. I was a legislative assistant for the White House.
Oh, my goodness. So you have trickled all through, you have ties everywhere, which helps in politics. So where do I start? If people want to get into politics, where do they start?
You just start getting passionate about something. Yours obviously.
Start a club,
I would
or?
say no, just going to the events. Like I didn't start a club. So I did oversee the club in Jacksonville. We lived in Jacksonville, and I was over the Robert E. Lee Club, which was the minority club in Jacksonville. Robert E. Lee was a historic figure in Jacksonville. He was amazing. They have a community center on the west side named after him. And so after doing the research, I'm like, why wouldn't I want to be over that club? And so it was a Republican club through the REC in Duval. And we don't even have that here in Clay County. So, so it's like,
Well, there's an opening.
There's an opening. So what I tell people always is define what you're passionate about. And what you're passionate about, there's something out there for you, right? So if it's sports, there's a sports association. Every political person, if it's a man, they're tied to some type of sport. And so you literally go and hear them speak, and they're going to talk about it. And then that's your in. And then you go and you say, hey, can I talk to you? Oh, of course. 9 times out of 10, do not listen to the media. They will talk to you.
Yeah. I've never had a problem.
No, me either.
From Jerry Falwell on.
Yeah, we go. It's like, it's not. And so that's how you
It's
get
how you
involved.
approach them.
Exactly.
They're just people to me.
I mean, I talked to the governor as if he were you and I sitting here,
Yeah.
and he's that approachable.
Yep.
Again, I've been able to be in the room with the first time Donald Trump ran. He's amazing.
Yeah.
He is the business guy. He is, I want to know what you're doing. I want to know how I can help you. Who doesn't want that as a boss?
He doesn't micromanage.
He does not micromanage.
People do not think, they think he's a guy.
He does not.
He gives you parameters.
That's right.
He gives you your action plans. He wants to hear what you got. Matter of fact, he don't want to do the work.
He does not.
And that's not lazy.
That's right.
That's smart. That's how
a
he can.
businessman.
People go, how can he run so many things?
Oh,
because he doesn't micromanage. And then through that, they learn through. Man, I was around some really good businessmen, and they didn't talk it a lot. It was an article here, it was an article, but it was more through action and his motor.
That's right.
God gave me that motor. Do you have that motor?
Yes.
Okay, I'm a little tired today, but my daughter's been in a wreck, and so I'm a taxi now for right now, and it's got me running next to it.
No,
It
it
happens
does.
in
But
life.
but working for him, to your point, you got to see things that you wouldn't normally see, and what the media wanted you to see. It's no different than working with Governor Scott. You know, being able to have him call you on a Sunday before you go to church and say, okay, I'm going to be in Miami. What do I need to make sure I tell them, or what is my talking points? Am I missing anything? Is there anything new? Those are the type of people that I've been engaged with. And so to be over this club and to bring that expertise to Fleming Island at this capacity will be amazing.
So what is the goal of this club? I mean, not necessarily 5 year, but I mean, like your initial.
The goal is to make people
push.
aware of who we are and what we bring.
Get
to
your
the
mission
table,
statement
get the
out there
mission
and
statement
yeah.
out there. Get behind understanding what's at risk for Clay County. Currently, we have things that are going to be on the ballot, educating people, bringing people in to speak to the things that are on the ballot. Because I believe in the more you know, the better you can make those decisions. I don't want to be the one, like I don't want people calling me asking me what my thoughts are. I want to be able to have that conversation, like you said. Like, you know, we're talking about property taxes.
Right.
Well, this is my take on it. What did you hear?
Right.
You know, we've just heard from the property appraiser. You know, now we can then have a dialogue, and as a group, what are our thoughts? What are our takeaways from this? And then we can go out and preach the gospel, because that's what I want. You know?
And then you don't have to hear Fox News or CNN. You hear it firsthand. You got to see what they said and who voted what and who just said they were going to do this and did something different. If you keep decent notes, the light gets shined, right?
And it always does.
How many children do you have?
I have 2 daughters.
2 daughters?
Yes.
Are they both, well, obviously everybody's different. One more like dad, one more like mom?
They're both like the both of us. Like I tell people I'm blessed because I have one daughter who I like to be outdoors, right?
Yeah.
I can go hiking. You know, I was with my girlfriend the other day. We were walking and we were walking and I saw these grapes. But you wouldn't know that unless you're camping and you've seen them on the trail. And she looked at me, she was like, so you really are an outdoorsy person. Like if I could live outside and still have my creature comforts, I would be out there. And that's one of my daughters. And then I have one who, if you mention outside, she cringes and balls up into a knot. And I appreciate that because I like to be inside. So I feel we are blessed because our daughters represent both of us in different facets.
The goal is for them to take the best of both of all of us and leave the negative.
And
be better than us.
I feel like our job as parents is to work through the negative with them because
it's going to happen.
Right. And you see, you be like, ugh, you like cringe. But at the same time, you're kind of like, okay, at least I can work through it with them. Because I know at this age, what that 15-year-old person would have been saying, vice versa. My husband's the same way. You know, he'll say something. He'll be like, oh my God, that's just like me. Or we'll say, oh my God, that's just like you. And so we do that. We have our oldest is 20 and our youngest is 15. So,
wow. That's fun.
Yeah, fun times.
So, is she out of the house? She's still home?
Yeah, she's out of the house. She goes to FIU in Miami.
Oh, yeah. My son looked there because he plays baseball. So he looked there he graduated Fleming in 2015.
Yeah.
What are the top 3 things you want to give your daughters or you hope they have? Because I think it ties in with what you do. Everything you do it's all integrated.
Yeah, I want my daughters to understand their purpose. I want my daughters to know that no, it just means not right now.
I like that. And
the last thing, I want them to know that God is the answer to everything.
100.
So those are my 3. And I mean, my 15-year-old, my 20-year-old, my 15-year-old, she's still struggling with the God thing right now.
And that's okay.
And that's where she needs to be, right?
Yep.
She's questioning it. She believes it, but she also needs to be more in those environments. And that's something that I don't see enough here as I did back home, right? In Broward County, our churches were very much involved in the youth. Mm-hmm. Here, I don't see that as much.
They have one thing. They do that 5th quarter, and it's nice.
It's it.
Yeah, but that's it.
But it's not. And
it so doesn't accommodate everybody. The young rowdy boys, where do they go? Because they're going to get in trouble over there. Yeah, a lot of pretty girls. And
then, you know, she's very analytical. So if you're not, we were going to a church and they were preaching about abstinence where she's not in that space.
Yeah.
So she's like, she comes home, she's like, well, I need to go back because this is what they're talking about for the next 6 weeks. And I'm like, oh God. I was like, so I go to the pastor and I'm like, is there anything else you're bringing in? He was like, well, for every one of her, there's like 30 of the other ones. I'm like, dude, if there's, the Bible talks about one, like,
what do we do? We leave the 99 and we go get the one.
It's like, and so he's no longer there, needless to say.
Okay.
But it was through prayer. I didn't go above him or anything. I just prayed because I'm like, you know, at this age is where it starts. And so then I have a 20-year-old who's in college. She goes to college church.
Yep.
She's in college groups with the church. And so.
Crazy how conservative they are. My daughter's at Florida.
There you go.
I mean,
it's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're deep in their Bible. My oldest son calls me with some deep Bible study. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you're
I
like,
gotta get in the Bible.
Like,
Wait.
okay, we're doing devotion.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get it. You know, so yeah.
Is this the start of this group? Is this like the first? So this is like the first year 1?
No. The group has
so it's been going
in
on.
existence. Yes. Taking it over from Ruth.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Okay.
yeah, she's been doing the club, and the
Okay,
club
gotcha.
isn't. I think it's the spinoff is new to Clay County,
Right.
but I used to belong to the Federated Women's of Jacksonville.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But no, it's not new to Fleming.
If somebody wants to get involved with what you ladies are doing,
Yeah.
even men.
I don't know how they do it. Normally we have, so you can be a member and then they have like a different conversation. It's a different label for men.
Right.
Because you can't come to the meetings,
Right.
but you can come to like the events.
Right.
That's what it used to be in Jacksonville. So,
Okay.
But here I can.
But it gives women a
It
voice.
gives you a voice, and it gives you an opportunity again to be amongst other conservative women, who are all rallying to become, more educated, because if you really do your research, you'll see that the majority of people who vote are women.
Yes.
So the goal
Or
is
drives the voting chain.
drives the voting
Who you voting for,
conversation.
mama?
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
being able to have that conversation and bring people to us that we can then go out and again talk to our girlfriends, talk to our peer groups, and say, okay, I don't know much about this, but now I do.
Yeah.
And so now we can have those dialogues is our goal, and to build the club's membership. We want to make sure if you're a conservative woman, you feel welcome, you come, you check us out, and you see how great and amazing we're going to be.
And just like we have the 99 here, there are the 1, 2, 10 that watch
right.
me in Washington and California. What do they do to get involved in something that's more in ideology like you? Are there chapters out there?
Yes, there is a national chapter, and you go to the National Federated Women's
I'll put a link on this.
Republican, and it goes by state. So
Okay.
you could just find your state people. They have state presidents, and then the state presidents typically kind of source you to your county.
Okay.
And then if they have multiple groups like Clay County, obviously they pretty much have the directory, so
Right.
to speak, of what's available.
Is there anything I haven't covered, you think? I mean, obviously, we could talk for
I know.
5 hours. I
you're
want you
good.
to be open.
Yes.
When you have something to say,
Yeah, no, I'm good.
it's an honor for me more than even it is all about the grind to sit with y'all and Catherine and all the connections and
Yes.
and Ruth. And it's just been a pleasure to get to know y'all and to watch the women in Clay County, because I have a daughter and I want her to be empowered and powerful, and I want her to challenge ideologies.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what group it is. Filter it through the Bible.
That's right.
Or filter it through your belief, whatever that belief is, because you got to stand for something, and sit down and have deep, attentive listening skills. Be an active listener.
That's right.
Don't listen just to know when to talk.
Right.
Listen to I pay attention to the vibrations. It helps me because it starts there for me. And I stare at people's lips. It freaks people out sometimes. But I want to pay attention to what they say. Otherwise, like I missed what you said about Ruth early on, and I asked,
right. No
about
problem. Yes.
right. And
Gotcha.
so if I'm not because I'm thinking about talking, and then we go away and go, I was listening. No, I wasn't. And compromise can't come without active listening
Cannot.
and an understanding that I may not be right. What if?
That's right.
And the yet, you said something, it wasn't the exact terminology, but I always taught my kids to say yet. I can't do that yet.
Right.
Because
No, not now.
Right.
That's what my dad taught
Okay,
me.
no, not
He's
now.
like,
There
if I
it
say
was.
No, it doesn't mean not right now.
Not now. Yeah, no, not now.
It just means not right now.
I love it.
You can come
And
back and revisit it.
he's more biblical. If you broke down the words, his words are very much closer than mine are. Thank you so much for being
No, you're
here, Ms.
welcome.
Peterson.
Yes.
Your husband's name?
John.
John, you're my friend. Okay, listen. I also would love anything that he ever has. Your daughters, you are a minority in a growing community, but there's old school roots here,
That's right.
and growth hurts in all aspects.
Yes.
And so we got to keep our minds open, and we got to let people that are outside my life experiences push me
That's right.
and test me to see what is wrong with testing my ideology, even biblically. What is wrong with you testing it? All it does is it challenges me to go filter it back through to find out. And if I can't run it back through more than one time, then is it really a good idea? Where did it really come from? Because the biblical one, you speak it and I speak it, and we never met, and yet we say the same tone, that one voice, God's really good
That's
at.
right. That's right.
So if we're doing what
true.
we're supposed to, and you and your hubby obviously do with your children, and we put God first, and whatever that higher power may be for you,
That's right.
because my God's big enough to take the word higher power and make it exactly.
Whatever it needs to be.
Seek and ye shall find.
That's right.
I love that verse.
That's right.
And the one that you really spoke without saying the words was, be still and know that I'm God.
That's right.
And thank you so much for your influence, whether it's agreed with me or not. I love variety, and I think it's what keeps Clay County growing, and it's going to keep pushing us to be better at everything we do, so that we are more inclusive of all peoples, even those I don't understand.
That's right.
We got a ton of Haitians that are in here in Clay County now.
Yes.
And I want to sit with. I have a friend that is a mover here. He's been in Jacksonville, Duval for a long time.
Okay.
But he's from Haiti.
You have we have an elected official, Alexander Comprere. She's in Oakley, the commissioner.
I would love it.
She's from Haitian descent.
Yeah, because it's a different culture, and understanding them and how they move and how they speak. And this is a retail store, and so I've had the pleasure of dealing and learning, and there's misunderstandings. And I mean, I had somebody that was very adamant about monies, and I didn't understand what they were saying, and they got very upset, but they really weren't upset. They were no different than me. Where's my money? They just couldn't speak it, you know.
Understand it, yes.
They didn't want to be here. They got dropped off here, and they're like, you know, what am I doing? Well, what are we going to do? We're going to let them walk around and just live in the woods? We've got to find something. And then we have this. There's so much to talk about. We have the Section 8.
Yes.
That is all up and down 17, and I don't think people pay attention. What
They
are we?
don't.
These people come from the Range, Rebald area. What are we doing? They come from New Orleans. They come from all over the country, and they're different cultures and different mentalities and Muslims. And what are we doing?
No, you.
Yeah, the
are
crime rate's bigger
definitely-
over there.
You are definitely hitting on something that I don't know if Clay County is ready for.
I don't think they really know what's there.
Right, and they don't know how to.
They'd be marching.
Correct, and they are quick to put the political, worldly view on it instead of actually, to your point, bringing in the experts who they know. Who may not,
You that taught in the inner cities.
That can
even
speak
someone
to
like me that
Right,
has been around it, but I'm a country boy, white boy. Wow, what a neat guy to get an idea. I was in gangster rap.
Right.
What a neat. How did I live in that world? No, I wasn't in it. It's a long, stupid story.
Right, but that's the thing. It's like, how do you build community with the experts you have? You know, I don't want to speak for another minority, but I can definitely give you more insight than you have walking in blindly.
Yep.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, listen, this is how I do it. Now, when you walk in there, understand that you may have to readjust and correct yourself. That's what I tell a lot of my candidates. Listen, do not go in there thinking you giving them something that they already got.
Yep.
So what you're going to walk in there with the understanding, and then you're going to let them guide the conversation. But you're also going to be able to say and speak intelligently to, you know what, well, how do you deal with this versus, well, I owe you or you need. No, how do you deal with it? Because then that relieves everybody from saying, oh, well, she didn't feel like I owed her something, and I don't feel like I owed her something. We're now having a conversation. You're treating me as we're equal.
Being
not
direct.
superior, not inferior. None of those things are coming out when you are educated about where you're going. That's the key.
Ignorance is so misunderstood.
It is so misunderstood, and that's
They
where
get
in
so
Clay County, they
insulted.
wear it with like a damn badge. It's like, I'm ignorant and damn you. It's like,
Right.
you can't still be ignorant at this age. Like this cannot be a thing.
It's willful ignorance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now that's
Now
when we
that's a
get
whole nother game.
There we go.
Don't pick up that Bible.
There we go.
Wow. What a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Not a problem.
Hey,
Anytime.
episode 47 is out. Ms. Peterson, who knew I could sit with people like this?
Yeah, I learned to stay strong. Concrete.
Come back for episode 48.
Know how to put in work. Grinding all day, you know it's game on. My skin is thick, yeah, it's tough. Running, yeah, we stay alive. Ain't gotta look no
Like,
else.
share, and subscribe. What are y'all
Greatness
doing?
inside.
Let's go. Let me turn this off. And we are